Hey there. Making a new moon Scorpio video. I was thinking about some different things that I wanted to share and reflect upon if you want to indulge me for a few minutes. So first of all, Jupiter has moved into Scorpio, and Jupiter amplifies and exaggerates and shines lights on things. Jupiter is the lover of humanity. Jupiter brings us blessings, it brings us expansion, brings us new good opportunities. Often when people move into a Jupiter cycle, they can start to meet a better type of partner, or the existing relationship can improve during those cycles. So it's interesting that we're seeing the light being shown in Scorpio, all the sexual, spiritual, and hidden things, whether it's the money being hid offshore, or obviously the sexual allegations and the whole thing happening in Hollywood. Now, I find this fascinating, and it reminded me of a great lecture, or maybe it was an essay I read by the wonderful Doris Lessing, who was a King of Hearts, amazing author, Nobel laureate winner. And she talked about how collective opinion was so interesting. And the example that she gave of the difference between a man and his individual morals and decisions versus a man in a group and the group think was, for example, the McCarthy era. So in the McCarthy era, somebody could be accused of being a communist, and because of the collective values of the society at the time, that person's career, if they were blacklisted, it could totally ruin them. Just some allegations and things being said that were agreed upon by the group to be true. And then she talks about how just a mere 10 years later, in the 1960s, people were burning their bras and draft cards and giving a big FU to the government. What had changed so much in just 10 to 15 years that the way the society reacted was so different? And Doris Lessing herself had become very big in the communist movement. She even left her children to be raised by their father. And then at a certain point, she fell out of the communist movement. And she talked about, even in her book Shikasta, which is an incredible science fiction book, how human beings are often used as a fodder for this sort of social movements that have a rhythm and a timing, but yet people will strap bombs to themselves and totally give up their lives for these ideologies, and then a mere 10 to 15 years later, those ideologies are out of favor. And it's so interesting what puppets we are of this kind of great wave of social conditioning, social opinion. And so that brings me to my next point of being astrology. Astrology is like the weather. We don't realize how much we are affected by the forces. Just like if there's high pressure and low pressure fronts coming in, people with injuries can physically feel it, right? So there's things happening in the sky right now where it literally says in the astrological interpretations that there will be a great lid being pulled up and awakening, and all the secrets will come out. And that's what's happening. Seriously, that's what's happening. And so speaking about the prevailing idea changing, something that I'm very pleased as a woman to be seeing is that, as somebody who spent a little bit of time in the entertainment industry, it was just the prevailing acceptance that men hit on you constantly. You should just accept that. If you sleep your way to the top, you can get a lot of favors that way. And hey, if you're into that, if people have free will, that's totally good. But it was this prevailing thing for, let's even say, the last 40 to 50 years, that it was acceptable and it was the norm, whether it was men or women, for people to abuse their power sexually, if that's how they so choose, in the entertainment industry. And it was just accepted. The casting couch, everybody, it was just kind of a bummer. And what's amazing is now the social movement has suddenly changed. And someone like Kevin Spacey, I mean, these are major players in the world. And all of a sudden, the prevailing winds of social thought have changed, very much reflecting the astrological omens of the time right now. And everything is changing. And it's no longer acceptable for people to abuse people or use their power to influence a person's career and or qual shit. And to me, this is amazing because, like, look what's happening. It's blowing up, like new allegations coming out all the time. And many, many people are probably really freaked out, like thinking back in their life and their time of, have they been jerks or maybe, you know, a little too strung out, a little too haughty. And that's how things happen when they're allowed to happen in steps and increments. Somebody doesn't become a total jerk overnight. It's that over time you get desensitized to the pleasures and you need something more and more to get you off, whether it's abuse or power. So these people have been allowed to do it because that was the prevailing norm. It was like, that was what it was in Hollywood. You know, if you want a favor, then, you know, you can do me a favor. But this is suddenly no longer acceptable. And it's blowing my mind. And I'm so thankful because planet pain, I mean, the sexuality is one of the number one things that has been manipulated and taken away from us. And now that it's in Jupiter, we have a chance for healing. And growth and healing and expansion come sometimes when we shut another door. And that's cool. This is good. I mean, this is a beautiful thing. And I know it can be traumatic and it's triggering a lot of women's memories of sexual abuse or just the pressure and the annoyingness of constantly having to be on guard as a woman, in all honesty. But if that's going to change, that's going to change the entertainment industry as we know it. Because people who are actually talented are going to be placed before you for the right reasons, as opposed to who did who what favors. And now that we're looking at this, it's only through looking at the darkness, looking at the wound, like when you get a wound and you got to like really scrub it out or pour some peroxide. It really hurts in the beginning, but you're cleaning it out. And the only way that something can heal is if you get all that stuff out of it. And I just can't believe it's happening. I'm so thankful as a musician and a woman that the prevailing norm is changing as to what's acceptable in this society. So yeah, so new moon in Scorpio. Wow. A lot of you out there are looking for partners. This is great for spirituality. This is great for fertility, conception. It's a great time to eat yourself and purify your intentions and emotions. And look at whatever wounds you haven't cauterized and healed yet. And give them a good scrubbing. And like always for new moons, I make a list of what I want as if it's already happened. I'm about to do that tonight because the new moon is coming up at like 4 a.m.-ish. So I'm going to do it beforehand. Y'all can do it after. You can do it tomorrow if you want, tomorrow evening. But I'm going to do 2 lists, you know, material and then the other emotional, spiritual, as if it's already happened. And I burn it with a piece of hair myself and put it out on the earth and release it. And it's really a great time of new beginnings. As insane as the world seems to be getting on a daily basis, at the same time, there's a great acknowledgement happening for the spell that we've been under. We've been asleep in a bad dream. And I feel like now we're waking up and we're going, whoa, that was really intense. What can we learn from it? So I hope that this video finds you guys learning and loving and in a really good space in your life. And I know things are intense right now, but consider it a purification. And as above, so below. If there's anything in your life that you need to clear out, become honest with yourself, your loved ones, all of that, this is a great time to do it. So I'm going to have a nice chill evening. I suggest you do too.